My favourite part of the summer is the abundance of soft fruits. And what better way to utilise that bounty than in the British classic summer pudding. I'm off to Kew Gardens in Abingdon to meet Katie Napper, where she's got an abundance of soft fruit literally waiting to be plucked.
See, we've got all sorts of good things. 3 different colours of currants, of which the red are undoubtedly the most beautiful.
Fantastic.
Gooseberries, raspberries, blackberries as well. We distribute our fruit really in 3 ways. First of all, that we pick ourselves and sell through our farm shop. We also attend lots of local farmers' markets, but also people come and pick their own fruit.
And the farmers' markets, is that in this area only? Is it contained like a radius that you operate within?
We would go about a 30 or 40 mile radius. This time of year we have to make the most of it because, of course, during the winter we don't do any farmers' markets because we don't have any product to sell.
Yeah, absolutely right. Seasonality is definitely the way forward. Well, it's good for everyone. It's good for the crop. It's good for us.
It makes the crop taste better. If you have to wait for it, not eat imported stuff during the year, wait for the main crop, English cherries or the soft fruits, a really ripe, freshly picked English warm strawberry. You can't beat it.
Well, we spent the morning collecting all this fantastic fruit, and now we're going to put it together to make what has become a classic British dessert, the summer pudding. I'm going to prep up all the summer fruits, and I received a tip today from Katie at Kew Gardens. She said take a fork, take a sprig of the fruits, and then just run the fork down. And hey, amazing. It really works. My goodness, all those years, all those summer puddings I've made, and I never used this. I'm just going to pick over these black currants. They don't really need a lot of work, but some of them have got very big tops and tails, so I'm just going to remove those. Right, next we've got the gooseberries. You can see these are the nice dark dessert gooseberries, slightly sweeter than the green ones, and actually help with that nice dark colour that we're trying to achieve with the summer pudding. I've no top tips for stoning cherries. If you haven't got a stoner, however, it's just as quick to do it with a knife. Make an incision and again, and just twist it off and get rid of the stone. So juicy. I'm just going to quarter these strawberries because we're going to make individual puddings. It's quite nice to have the fruit in smaller pieces. It is a crime to wash strawberries off. If they've got stuff on, just get a bit of damp tissue paper or a nice damp dishcloth, a clean one, and just wipe them over. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just to wash the fruit off. Washing just means removing any sort of dead bits of twig or anything that have become stuck on. We don't want to get involved in much agitation. All the dead bits just float to the top, or any fruit that's not that brilliant. So then you can just pour it off, and underneath is what you're looking for. Right, I'm going to put the gooseberries into the pan. I'm going to put a bit of sugar on them, and I'm going to leave them until they just pop open. Now remember, these are dessert gooseberries, so they're not going to be as demanding on the sugar. You see, the gooseberries are just starting to split open. Right, that's long enough for those. I'm now going to add the currants. Stir that in. Now's the time to add the cherries. I'm going to turn it off and add the raspberries and the strawberries because they're such lovely soft fruits. They just go to mush so easily. It actually does smell like a summer's day. We'll let that cool slightly, and while that's happening, we'll slice the bread and line the moulds. Get a nice white loaf. I've left mine on the board overnight, so it just firms up slightly. Slice some thin slices. cut out the base, make sure it fits snugly in the bottom of the aluminium pot. Right, now we're going to make some soldiers. I'm going to remove the crust from the bread and cut it. Next, we're going to line around the mold with these fingers of bread, making sure there are no exposed patches, so that when the fruit goes in, it stays in. I'm pressing it firmly to the sides as you go around. Now we're going to fill the pudding up. The thing to remember about filling the puddings is I always fill it first and leave it to sit for a few minutes so that it soaks into the bread. Then I go back and I top it up with some more filling just to make sure that I can get as much fruit as possible into it. You fold the bits of bread over each other. You see how important it is here to have thinly sliced bread. Because if you have thick stuff, you end up with a giant wodge of it on the top. So then we press it with a plate. And if you're making several of these, you put them on a tray, you put a similar sized tray on the top, and then you put a weight on there. You push that down. You just refrigerate that. I'd recommend for at least a couple of hours. And the following day you should have no problem just tipping it out. A small spoonful of the fruit over the top with some double cream. When people say, what are we having? I say summer pudding. You can see their faces light up. It's such a favourite and it's such a joy to cook it because people enjoy it so much.